Hi everyone. I want to spend the next few minutes sharing some of the tips and tricks I have concerning finances. All of these I've tried and do help me in my life. The first tip that I have is I've signed up with a no-fee banking provider. The no fee means that there's no fees in the day-to-day banking. There are still fees, but not associated with a checking account and not being in an overdraft state. What it allowed me to do was open up a total of 5 bank accounts. So I have my checking account for day-to-day living. There are 4 more bank accounts that I have that helps me manage my budget. I have bank accounts for household maintenance, property tax, utility bills, and disability and physio. So the reason for the other bank accounts is that I physically move the money out of my checking account and put it into the other 4 bank accounts as is appropriate, so that I don't spend money twice that I'm needing to have at a later point. I own my own home, so I'm responsible for maintaining the bills that go alongside of it. It would be too hard for me to come up with $400 4 times a year if I didn't set aside money each month for my property tax. So that's why I've got a property tax bank account. I have to be setting aside money starting in June the previous year in order to have money for the 4 payments during the year when my property tax is due. It's the same type of idea for my utility bills. I have to set aside $220 a month for my utility bills so that when the bills come for heating, electricity, water, and others like phone, the money is in that bank account for me to use on these bills. Not every bill is paid monthly, and that's why for me it works to take the money out of my checking account so I don't spend it twice. When I receive gifts of money, like my birthday and Christmas, I put it in my bank account that I call my disability and physio account. So that bank account is for expenses that are not covered with my disability pension. An example for you is the lighting that I added to my wheelchair. It's the disability and physio bank account that paid for it. It was really important for me in this video to share with you that there's no shame in applying for low-income housing if you're struggling. These housing subsidies often have a multi-year waiting list, so you may need to be willing to move into renting a bedroom or a smaller place until you get approved, and that's okay. You know, part of this is when we're young, we have dreams for our lives, and it's based on maybe some our parents' influence, not understanding the world as much because you're a child. But then when all of a sudden life comes along and you're in a wheelchair, it's important to acknowledge that some of the plans and goals you had for your life may need to change now to accommodate where you're at in the here and now. So it's okay if you're not able to fulfill every dream you had as a child. It's a different life, but you're still living and able to enjoy life even if you don't have a lot of money and don't have money for new cars and the biggest house, and things aren't as you had pictured when you were young. You know, one of the things that I love doing that doesn't cost a lot of money is nature photography. It really only means having money for a camera and then charging or buying batteries. You know, I made the Christmas lights video because I really enjoy that type of thing. And I made it with this guy here. This is an inexpensive point and shoot camera. You know, it cost me about $50 when I bought it. It's not the latest and the greatest, but if you looked at the Christmas lights video, you wouldn't have noticed that it was not a high-end camera that took the pictures. What I'm saying to you is that there are options to do things that don't cost an arm and a leg, and you can still enjoy life and be yourself. If you're not sure of what there's to do that's free, do a search online. There's no lack of things that you can be doing that you don't have to spend your money on and still be living a fulfilling life. It's really important when you're in this lifestyle that you also take care of your mind, that you do what you have control over to either not be depressed, or if you're someone that suffers from anxiety or depression, that you help manage it. There isn't a lot of money spent in having pet fish. Maybe pet fish aren't your thing. Perhaps you could get into some drawing. What I'm trying to get at and suggest to you is that there be a few key items in your living space that help you relax and feel safe and at home. So when you're at home, you're at ease and your body's not under additional stress other than the reason for your disability. I happen to love pet fish, and I could sit there till the end of time watching them because I enjoy it so much. It's not practical, but it's something that I really connect with. I don't know what that connection for you may be. I encourage you to find out. I also want to let you know that there are subsidies available for low income when joining certain gyms. The city where I live has a low income option based on what Stats Canada dictates as the line of poverty. There's also the YMCA where I live. They have a membership assistance program as well. It's important to get out and connect with people some of the time. I'm not going to tell you to go out 7 days a week and really stress yourself and wear yourself out being around people. But I want to encourage you to engage in some exercise, because by doing so, you're going to make friends and have conversations that will help bring you support on the days when you're feeling down. And that common denominator of you being in this hand and someone else being here, but you've got exercise as a common, will get you out and help you connect with people that can support you when you need it. This isn't to mention the health benefits of exercising. It does take asking, and you need to be willing to accept the help, but that's why these programs are in place. There's an acknowledgement that exercise is good for people, and city-owned facilities tend to have a subsidy available for low income. The final part that I want to share with you is that I don't have the money to hire a personal support worker. So instead, I've got tools around my home to help me manage and empower me to do more for myself. I'm talking about things like having a stool to brush my teeth on, having a shower chair for showering, and a handheld fossil end for the shower. I've got things around my home that are made for my body and are positioned for me to make the best in my day-to-day life. I encourage you to ask for the help that you need, but still be pushing yourself to do what's possible for you. It's a practical reality of not having a lot of money that you can't buy your way out of everything. You know, there are friends in my life that see me trying to make something out of my life and are inspired to help me because of it. And I want to share with you that that inspiration is part of how I'm able to stay living in this house. It's not an easy ride. It's not an easy journey. But from friends being willing to help me means that if I really need something, I could call on somebody and within a few days I would have help. I want to see the same for you in your life. So having social connections and building up relationships is really important. A gym is one of these areas where friendships could develop over the long term. Going to church is another option that could help you in the long term have, you know, what you need for practical supports. Kind of the one-off things that are hard for you to do each day, like going into the basement to check that the water tank's not leaking, for example. Before I close, there's kind of one more thought that I want to share with you. If I was to do this all over again, the tiny homes movement really has my attention. My house isn't large by any means. It doesn't cost an arm and a leg for building materials to put up a small, modest home like the tiny homes movement has. You know, if you're someone that's motivated, you might be able to arrange for several contractors in your community to build you a small place if it's something that you legitimately could afford to sustain, and that was your ambition. I know it's not everybody's dream to have their own home, and that's okay. The tiny homes movement is how I would be able to work out housing that I owned if I was starting all over right now. I would need to be asking for help from some people in the community. You know, I've got people in my life right now that would do it. And I think the same could happen for you if you're being real and if it's a need that would help benefit you. These things do take a lot of planning and a lot of love and commitment. And it's not going to afford you a huge place. But an open concept living room, kitchen, dining room, and then 2 other rooms, a bedroom and a bathroom, or 2 bedrooms and a bathroom, may be all that you really need, where one of the bedrooms was either an office or had a few pieces of exercise equipment in it for you. I still want to encourage you to live your dreams. And if owning your own home is one of your dreams, pray about it, pursue it, and live the life that you can. But know what money comes in at the beginning of the month, and make sure that there's still money left by the time the end of the month rolls around. In this life, even without a wheelchair, you still need to have people in your life. Without there being a lot of social assistance, it means being able to do for yourself as much as possible. I only want to encourage you to seek the help that you truly need, to not being ashamed when you need to ask for help, and then be committed to the lifestyle that you're in. You know, there are able-bodied people that are struggling, even though their struggle isn't physical or isn't one that can be seen. People still have struggles, whether it's a wheelchair or relationships, family, finances. There's 101 things people can struggle with. I want to encourage you to know that you're not alone and to pursue your dreams, whatever they are, and not have money hold you back. It means embracing the lifestyle that you're in. There is a life to be enjoyed regardless of whether you're able-bodied or in a wheelchair. Thanks so much for this time that you spent with me today. Bye for now.